I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. So for those of you who don't know Tina Caul, she has been named one of the most influential real estate agents in North Carolina. She has a team that's going to sell over $120 million in real estate this year. She's been a TEDx speaker, and also you've been on HGTV twice, right?
Yep.
So, she's got some great knowledge for you guys, and we're so thankful that she's here with us today to share with you all. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. So I guess let's just kind of dive right into the nitty gritty. You were saying that, one of the big things that you've built your business on is really understanding how to be a speaker, scripts, dialogue. So tell us a little bit about kind of your thought process, and a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started selling real estate 20 years ago, and I kind of started the traditional way everybody does. You join a brokerage, you lean on the people around you, right? Any agent that's willing to talk to you, you talk to, and you ask questions. And quickly I saw that there really wasn't a process, and I was fine with it because I didn't know any different. And I went to, becoming a top agent at my firm within, a few years, and probably peaked out at 30, 40 transactions, which in our world, right, for the average agent sells 4 homes a year, which is right. So I was given awards and was a top producer, but then I ran into a big producer in our market. And so I remember she was an older woman, and she would run circles around us. She would get all the price reductions. She would get all the good expired listings. Her listings sold quickly. Her sellers seemed to listen to her. And so when I really kind of dug deep, I realized she was part of a coaching company, and she had been part of a coaching company for years. And she read inspirational books all the time, and she surrounded herself by top thinking people in these masterminds. And I thought, okay, if I want to get to the next level and make more money, I'm going to have to follow this woman. So I literally just copied her. I did the exact same coaching and yada, yada. So fast forward, I was in Michigan those first 7 years. My coach, who pushed me to think bigger, kind of taught me how to use scripts and dialogue on how to get in front of people, convert better, lead the customer in the direction they want to be led. And that allowed my sales to shoot up. So I went from making $150,000 to $250,000, and then got the courage to actually leave my hometown of Detroit, Michigan, and move down to North Carolina 10 years ago and literally start over. So it was my husband left his job. I left all my business, which was a successful business, and we landed in Raleigh, North Carolina, and didn't know a soul. And so to be a brand new agent in a market where you don't know anyone, you can do it the good old fashioned way where you start to, go to network marketing things and meet people and build it slowly and, try to build a network, or you can pick up the phones and start dialing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I picked up the phones with my husband, and we just started smile, dial, make a pile, and we failed forward. I didn't sell my first home here for about 6 months. And we had this much money left in the bank. And finally things just started to work because all those leads that we had started to generate were coming back, and so the second 6-month period, we sold 36 homes. And so, I owe that to scripts, to phone dialing, and to learning a presentation that's duplicatable. And so I think now I have a passion that every realtor can learn that. There is no reason that agents should sell 4 homes a year in any market.
Right.
And I love that you are so passionate about that, because I think that's the biggest misconception with realtors is I know I even had an attitude towards it. I was like, I don't want to learn a bunch of scripts. That's not me. That's not how I work. And the reality of it is we all are using a script in some way.
Yes.
We made up or whatever we did. And so why not learn the right things to say instead of all the wrong things? I learned the hard way with that.
But I was with you, Jen. I mean, I was like, I'm not scripted. I'm just naturally, I can talk to people. And I did. The first 7 years I was unscripted, and my volume was about 30 to 40 transactions. And the minute I became more scripted and dialed in and learned how to present, I sold 130 homes myself personally. That was my best year. That's a huge difference. And like you said, we all had a script. It just, mine sucked, obviously.
Well, it didn't suck because you still did 30 to 40 homes. Yeah. But it wasn't as efficient as you could have been. Think about if you had it the whole time. So no, I love that. So now when it comes to learning those scripts and doing all of that, are you a big into role playing and practicing?
Yeah, I mean, that took a while to kind of not feel weird, so part of my transition into, in my mind, becoming a professional salesperson was to go from letting the day happen to me. I think we've all been there. You get to the office, you check your email, and the inspection report comes in, you're doing that. The phone might ring and maybe you'll get a referral, but by the end of the day, you haven't moved your business forward. You're just servicing it all the time. Yeah. And so when I went from letting the business day happen to me to having a structured business, where I actually woke up at a certain time, I got to the office between 7:30 and 8. I did role play for 30 minutes a day with 5 different role play partners a week. And then I got on the phones to basically prospect, to get out there and get in front of customers and dig for gold, And so I always thought of, I have to get an appointment today. Something has to move my business forward. So for me, it was, I'm a gold digger, right? I'm digging for gold every day. And so I kind of understood that I had to embrace repetitious boredom, because it's boring to sit on the phones for 3 hours. I mean, right? It's like you want to blow your brains out. So I think when you are standing there and you've got music on and, you've got your headset on and you've got a dialer on and you finally get to people, it's like, okay, this is what I do. Some people are going to say no, some people are going to say maybe, and some are going to say yes. And so I felt like it was so cool to be able to deliver that to myself every single day. And then I felt accomplished at the end of the day, right? If I made my 20, 30 contacts, I was like, yes, that's a win. If I got an appointment, yes. If I didn't get an appointment, I would go and get a price reduction, right? So I'm moving my business forward. I'm always doing something to make it a win. So by the end of the day, when I lay my head on the pillow, I felt like I did something productive.
That's awesome.
And I think that's probably the reason why so many agents fail, is because they're not treating it like a business, right? They're just reacting. And they're just like, oh, I don't want to go work a 9 to 5. Well, in a sense, when you have a schedule, sometimes we work a 9 to 9, right? So you have to be structured. I mean, look at, how much we use our Google Calendar. I don't know, how to function anymore without a Google Calendar between work life, family life, kids, all that stuff. I mean, everything is structured all the time. And the same thing, get up in the morning, go to the gym, have your breakfast, and then what time are you going to start work by, right? Like some agents you talk to, and they're like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll start calling around 10 or 11. And I'm like, what have you done the other 4 to 5 hours of your day already,
Exactly. And what you said was perfect. Treat it like a business. Yeah. Most people come into real estate because they see us driving nice cars and, living this life. And we do, a lot of us that have become successful live beautiful lives, but they don't see the background, right? The people that actually do something with the business have sacrificed a lot to make it happen. And so I always tell my agents, if I said to you, hey, Jason, I'm going to pay you $300,000 a year, your first or second year in real estate, but I need you to come into the office every day at 7:30. I need you to role play for 30 minutes. Then I need you to get rejected for 3 hours a day talking to 30 people like a telemarketer. And then if you're done, I need to check email, go to lunch. And then maybe if you're lucky and you did your job right in the beginning, you'll go visit one seller or one buyer and get a contract signed. I'm going to pay you $300,000, Jason. Will you take that job?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody says yes.
Everybody says yes. Okay.
Well, why don't they do it when it's up to them?
Yeah.
It's almost why do we all do better with coaching, right? If somebody's there to hold you accountable and make you move the needle forward or move the ball forward versus, oh, I'm just going to do it all myself.
Right.
There's a few of us that'll do it ourselves, right? But that's a very, very small number. I mean, the majority of people are not that self-motivated, especially for people that didn't come from a business background, right? They may have came from working at a corporate job where, hey, it was structured. You had to be here. You had to do certain reports. You had a boss to report to. And that was their structure and their coaching, but they're just not relating that now to their new business.
Well, I think too, going back to like you were saying, not even let's say that they're just not doing anything till 10 or 11. I know I'm guilty of it. It is so easy to let this business start running you instead of you running your business. Yeah. And so I think it's like, I'm so guilty of it. Like I'll wake up and I'll start checking my emails. And why, I don't know why I do that though, because what happens then, it starts sending me to this instant like anxiety about everything I have to do rather than sticking to my schedule. And don't book it. If there's an emergency, but somebody's calling you. They're usually not emailing you an emergency.
Yeah.
And
So
booking the time to check your email. That way you can focus and, be deliberate about your day. And, going back to coaching, people are always like, should I get a coach? I'm like, the coach is not going to make you successful. The only thing coaching did for me was make me accountable to the goals that I set. And trust me, I lied to my coach for the first 2 months. I said, I'm making calls, and I wasn't making calls. I was lying through my teeth because I was so afraid of picking up the phone. I mean, deathly afraid. And the coach was there to kind of work through the bullshit, and kind of over yourself. But the true learning to me wasn't so much the coaching. It's not a fix. That's accountability. The true learning was the mastermind groups, like getting together with you guys, top agents around the country, learning, hey, what do you say when a seller wants to say, I want to rent my home? It's not that we're trying to trick people into doing things they don't want to do. It's just, how do I show this person the value of either selling or keeping their property? And how do I do it in a professional manner? And you learn all these nuggets. And then when you're in front of a customer and you're presenting this way, they're like, man, this person knows what they're talking about. That's all I wanted, was to figure out a way to sound like I knew what I was talking about. And then maybe one day I would know what I was talking about.
And I think that's the big thing too with going back to the scripting is like, you don't have to read it word for word.
No.
It's learning, like you were saying, like there's certain keywords and there's certain things that you can say that express things, instead of fumbling through the it's that confidence, I think, of just knowing exactly how to approach it.
I think it's more conversational dialogue, with just extracting the information that you need to help them make a better decision, right? Like, you need to know things like, oh, the school's important, is the neighborhood important, the amenities, taxes, HOA, CDD. But instead of just drilling them down on questions, have a conversational dialogue to get to those answers that get them what they need.
And I always say there's a reason why Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt get paid millions of dollars versus a new actor, right, that just lands on the scene in Hollywood. Why do we pay Brad Pitt $20 million per film? Because he makes you believe what he's saying. And that's the difference between agents. They don't like scripts because they don't sound natural, because they don't practice them to sound natural. And therefore they go, I don't like them. Well, you didn't practice them. You didn't practice them every day for an hour. I have so much script practice. I even went and took training from an acting coach to learn how to navigate the script and sound like it's my own. Once you internalize it, it's yours. It becomes the Jason and Jen script. And we can all have the same script, but I'm going to present it differently than the both of you.
Yeah,
you're right.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I want to be Brad Pitt of scripts.
I hope you get paid like Brad Pitt too.
Me too. I want that money too.
That's good.
Yeah.
But when you first started making all these calls, who did you call? Were you calling for sale by owners? Were you calling expireds?
Yeah. So I would start the day by calling the newest expireds. And for those that are watching that don't know what those are sellers that unfortunately took their home off the market, whether they are letting go of their agent or just redoing something in the property. So I would start with them because obviously the early bird gets the worm. And so you want to be one of the first few agents that calls that seller before the end of the day when they're exhausted at talking to agents bothering them. So I wanted to be first there. And then I would call for sale by owners because we helped a lot of for sale by owners sell their homes. So it was kind of getting in front of the for sale by owner first and building the relationship, because as we all know, you have to court a for sale by owner for sometimes days or weeks. Then I would go into circle prospecting. So I would look at my newest listings or homes that I just sold. And before I listed a property, we would call the entire street. So we would pull the list, call them and say, hey, this home is coming available. Who do you know? Then I would call the exact same list once it's sold. Hey, it was Tina. We just sold that home, multiple offers. Who do you know? Or are you thinking of selling? So now I've touched them twice. So it was really a great way to get new listings. And then from there, I would call past clients. But in the beginning, I didn't have past clients. So I actually went out and toured property in the afternoon when I didn't have appointments. I would go tour 10 different resale homes that were vacant so I could start to understand my product, right? And I knew I could say, yeah, I've been in that home or I've been in that neighborhood. So I was just learning the area.
Yeah, I think that's a great first step, especially for newer licensed agents.
Yes.
They have to get out in the field. They've got to understand the floor plans. They've got to understand the different neighborhoods, the different qualities and builders. I mean, the more knowledge you have of that stuff, the more that's going to present over to a client as well, and you're going to help them make a better decision. So I love that you did that. I've had several new agents that, and it's just shocking to me how many people just don't take that time to go do that. And that's one of the easiest things you can do.
Yeah, I actually paid a realtor that was here local, and he had lived here his whole life. And I paid him hourly to take me to houses to show me the different building materials. So we didn't have fiber cement in Michigan. We had brick. I didn't know what fiber cement was. And then to show me the difference between fiber cement and masonite. So there was a way, I remember he took his keys. He's like, if you tap here, you can hear the different sounds. So then I was able to take a client out and regurgitate those stories, right? Yeah. And then the client's like, man, she knows her stuff, because here I am with my keys going click, click. You hear that? That's fiber cement. You know, so you need to know the lingo, right? In any area. If I come to Florida, you guys have different stuff that we have here. And trust me, I would hire you to tell me exactly what I need to know, you know, if you weren't my mentor. So.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so now you have a team of 10 agents, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so when did you get the vision for transitioning to a team versus just, obviously you were killing it on your own, so.
Yeah, so because I had big lofty goals. So the first thing I wanted was to earn $1 million in GCI, just to have it on my tax return, right? So I didn't grow up with a lot of money, and you know, I just wanted to see if I could accomplish that, because I had surrounded myself with really big thinking agents that were selling $2 million in commissions a year, $3 million in commissions. So when you're exposed to that, something happens, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, if they could do it, I can do it. And I followed the systems and the steps. But once you get to 130 transactions, and I have my husband and my son, and you're on that phone constantly, you start missing quality of life. And so I realized that I was giving up too much of my family time at home, and it wasn't worth the money. So I said, okay, I'm gonna start growing a team. I remember at the time I had gotten a MREA book, what is that?
Yes,
Real estate agent, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna grow a team, and I followed the book. I remember somebody gave it to me. They were actually trying to recruit me, but they gave it to me, and I read the whole thing like in 3 nights, and I made a bunch of notes. I'm like, okay, I'm building a team. And so I hired my first buyer's agent. I had an admin already, and I hired a second admin to be ready for future growth. So I had 2 admins, my husband in the field doing signs and other things, and then I had my 1 buyer's agent. And it was amazing to me to give up those buyer deals. I got so much time back. And at first I was like, if I give up these buyer deals, that's $500,000 in commissions. I'm gonna basically give up $250,000. And so, but in my mind, the other agent was also giving up some of that money for themselves to share in the growth. And so it was a win-win for both of us. So I got my weekends back and my nights back, and I loved that feeling. And so I hired a second buyer agent. And so then she took on the other bulk of it. And so as I started to hire more people, I started to see, every time I spend more money, I get my time back. And so the progression was, up until last year, I still sold 130 homes. This is the first year where I'll probably end at 30 to 40 transactions. And then hopefully next year be out of the business, more in a visionary growth, mentorship, consulting role. Yeah. And then training my agents to be great advisors. The agents on my team, I have 4 that will sell 50 homes each. I have 3 that'll do 35 to 40. And then the rest, the minimum on our team is about 20 transactions, which is really good. So they're very high performing.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How often do you meet with them?
Oh, we're in every day. Every day we're in our office. Yeah. So we have about 3,600 square feet of office space. And so we're in there every day. We do a Zoom call in the morning. We've gotten away from that a little bit, but they come into the office, and then they know what to do. But sometimes it's funny, even though they know how I built my business, they get lazy on their goals. And so we'll have to kind of get them back in. So this week we're kind of actually doing a regrouping, come to Jesus. Hey guys, let's all get ready because my year starts October 1st. I don't wait till January. We do our goals, our planning, everything starts October, November. And then that way they have an amazing January.
Yeah, that's good.
I agree. I think that's awesome. I think it's exciting to, I think a lot of agents always let off the gas pedal the last quarter. And I will tell you, for us, I feel like we always end up having our best months are always our last quarter because having little kids, not little, but they're still little enough where we have to be present. In the summer is when I kind of struggle, like because it's going back, like the balance. I want to spend time with them. I only have so many more with them. So then it's like they go back to school and I'm like, okay, now I'm ready. I'm ready to go back at it. So I go way more all in the last quarter. It's funny to see how that goes. And it's great.
Agreed. And, and that's where my coaching was great because they're like, most agents by Halloween, they're done. They're done selling homes. They're in complete holiday head mode. But the reality is we still need to sell homes. There's thousands of transactions in October, November, and December, right? Yeah. There's still people moving and there's still death and divorce and job transfers. So, who's going to be out there helping these people? It's going to be us because we're not going to let off the gas.
Yeah,
exactly.
And especially here, I've noticed because we're originally from Ohio, you had more of a sales cycle the further north you go.
Yeah.
Down here, it's just selling all the time. So if you look at Q4 versus summertime, Q2 or Q3 over the past several years, there's very little difference in the amount of transactions that have happened. And I actually think this year, just because real estate has been so accelerated, I think Q4 this year will be better than Q2 last year or Q3 last year.
Agreed.
So,
I agree. I think we're going to have a blow up, amazing market next year in our area here. We're getting a ton of California buyers, a ton of New York, so Northeast, just all leaving their high tax, terrible weather up in the Northeast, and then in California, you can't afford anything. So that's true. We're seeing the same thing here. A lot of the Northeast section moving out. California is a super move out state right now. If you follow howmoneywalks.com, it'll show you. I gotta write that down. How many walks? Okay.
It's howmoneywalks.com, and it'll even drill down to the counties in your state.
Wow.
How many people are leaving, and then where they're going to. Right. So it's really interesting to see the heat map right now. Like bright green is a super move to state. Dark red is a super move out. Well, the whole Northeast corridor is super red. California is super red. And then you have the Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, and Texas are all like neon green. Of the influx,
Yeah. We're moving about 70 people a day are moving into our county. 70 a day. Like that is insane. So, so we're here. We're ready to help people. Just call us.
Absolutely. So well, hey, we do want to respect your time. What is a good way for people to contact you, and what areas do you service?
So we're in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. And so, they can reach out through Instagram @Caul Group. It's CAUL Group. Just Google Tina Caul. You'll find me somewhere, and we're happy to help. So,
Go
ahead. We always do this. Wait, hold on. So your turn is my turn. But no, we absolutely, appreciate so much that you came on here today with us. That was some great information. I think, I love that you dial it back just to the simple things, right? Like, I think we tend to overcomplicate this business. And if you just stay focused on the fundamentals, success. So I love that so much. Yeah.
And, and obviously we do social media now. We do pay-per-click and we do Zillow leads and we do all the other things. But I think, to me, it's like my heart goes out to brand new agents or agents that are 1-2 years in the business. If you want to have explosive growth, you gotta work on the presentation. You gotta get in front of more people. That's it. So, absolutely. Well, I've enjoyed today too. So if you guys ever need anything, call me, but I'll be down in Tampa probably. When am I coming down there? Probably for Christmas. So maybe we'll grab some coffee.
That'd be amazing for sure. Definitely stay in touch. So
awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Have a great day. And we'll
Bye guys.
Bye. Thank you.